we would celebrate it. So
I
what a
love
great
that.
way to celebrate.
Yeah, I love that you're from the future. Because here on the West Coast of Oregon, where I am, it's still December 30th. You were
I'll tell you what 2020 is like when we get there.
Thank you. That's so great.
I am enjoying the festive season.
Good. I can tell. Tell us your sun, moon, and rising.
So sun is in Aries and moon is in Cancer, loving my home, and my rising is in Cancer, so I've got the double water.
Oh, double Cancer with an Aries. I can feel your Aries. I can feel your Cancer though too. I can. So tell us when you took Applied Astrology level 1 and 2. Was it the recent one or was it a while back?
Well, it was the beginning of this year, 2019. Yeah. So, yeah.
And who was your mentor?
My mentor was Becky, and I couldn't ask for a better, more grounded mentor because she has, I think, 7 planets. Oh, no, 7 planets in Earth? No, 6 planets, and her rising is in Earth. So I had the most grounded, earthy, practical teacher.
Yes.
Which was a blessing for me because I have no Earth in my chart, which was another one of those aha moments through the levels.
Right, and that's the first class, right? The elements class in level 1. We learn what our missing element is, which is what Debra's book's all about, the missing element. And so you have this teacher, this mentor that you chose, Becky, who has 1,000 planets in Earth. Let's just say 1,000, 6 or 7, basically equals 1,000 when it comes. And she helped kind of bring that to you as well because you have 0 Earth, right? That's so cool.
Yeah, she was like this rock that just grounded me down and tied me down to this Earth and was like, let's learn this in a practical, methodic way. So that's the beautiful thing about the system.
She's so great. She's such a great mentor. How did you find Applied Astrology? How did you find Debra in the school? I'm curious.
Well, this is a cool story because everything comes back to never underestimate the power of circle, and things circle back, and the circle of the chart and everything like that. So the start of it was I was born, raised, conceived on a little house in Gemini Street. So I've always had this fascination of
literally on Gemini Street. That's what it was called.
Yes.
Wow.
I know. So I was always asking my parents, like, what does Gemini mean and where is it? And so they gave me all these tools growing up. So I was already kind of speaking archetypes in a way. And I was doing women's circles here in Mount Isa. And so one of the women at those circles ran into me, no such thing as a coincidence, and she said to me outside of work, I'm about to start this astrology course. I think that you would really love it. So I, follow signs. That's what my life is all about, just following the signs and the synchronicities. And then I did a basic foundational course in Australia with a mentor that taught me Western Vedic. And she listed off all these really cool astrologers to follow. So I was kind of like getting addicted to the Leo King. So, he was really cool and fun to watch. And getting to know him, one day, Debra interviewed him and she did his chart. And she was just so spot on, just practical, grounded, candid. It was the most funniest interview to watch, and I was just like, oh, and then I went down the rabbit hole of Debra and going, oh my god, I can't get enough of this woman, she's amazing.
So that's how you found her. That's so cool. Leo King actually did this little episode about his own personal life that I watched 2 days ago, and he gave a shout out to her, and I got so excited. Yeah, that's really cool. So going back to your level 1 and level 2 experience, what would you say was the class that you had what was the highlight for you in level 1 and 2? Like, which class really gave you the most insight into your chart, gave you the most aha moments, and kind of brought something to light for you?
Well, I guess obviously it started with the elements of the aha, because I was never taught that. And then we obviously, like, when you know you're more than your sun sign, you know, the sun, moon, and rising, so you sort of go, but then it was like, whoa, you know, but what about Mercury? Like, where is my mind at? Like, that was the big aha. And then that was kind of like the level 1 ended with this, but what
Where
about
is your Mercury?
Saturn? Oh, Pisces.
Pisces. Here we go.
I know. Are you ready to come up to the stratosphere? Yeah. And so, yeah, the stories that come out of the Mercury. And then it went into Saturn. And it was like that major thing at the end of level 1 about, wow, you cannot deny time, you cannot deny. And all of us girls in level 1 were going, wow, when you see Saturn move around your chart, you can't deny it. So we all dove in and we're like, let's go for level 2. And we agreed as a group and we were all just committed to Becky, like we wanted to stay and keep unpacking. And then level 2 was like, being able to, what you unpacked on yourself, to be able to share that on other people's charts and go into the whole aspects and transits was just like, wow, what is going on for me today or someone else, or it could be a big transit. And then at the end of it, we got to learn progress.
My dog is going to come in and attack me.
Oh, yay! And then the progress moon stuff was like, well, you can't deny this, but the nodes, the ending on that node thing made me have that big aha that said, you need to get out of, you know, the Gemini bookland and actually go and be the Sagittarius, which is really uncomfortable for me, like this.
Yeah. So even though this is uncomfortable for you, I'm so happy you're here. You're doing it anyway.
Oh, my heart.
You're out of her comfort zone today.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, good. It's a good start to your new year, right?
Oh, definitely. And that's the other stuff that you learn too, because you can keep up with the language of all of the astrologers now, because you understand that, you know, you don't have to believe in it, it exists. And that's the other thing, is that when people used to sort of say, oh, you believe in that sort of stuff? And it was like, well, you know, do you believe in air or the weather? Do you believe in radio waves and the phone book? Or do you believe in Italian? You know, it's like, if I want to know what to wear today, then I just check the weather, I read the weather. If I want to know how to ring someone, I look them up in a phone book. And if I want to talk Italian, then I just immerse myself with, like, astrologers say that actually talk the language that I want to speak. But it took me to another place with Debra, that it wasn't just speaking archetypes, it was like being able to fluently keep up with the conversations and understand that, like, even this energy that we're sitting under right now is this amazing eclipse energy, you know, this 2-week portal. What does this mean? And all this energy in Capricorn. It's so exciting. Like, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Because now we have an understanding of it. And then within that understanding, I think that then we're able to work with the energy more, you know, and help others, help those close to us work with the energetic as well. So I had the privilege of popping into your class too, because I substituted for Becky, I remember. And the feeling, I want you to speak to, you know, you're in these small intimate groups with other students, up to 10 other students. And within that, you're moving through these very personal stories through the chart. And a lot of times you walk away with, yes, all this astrology language now and wisdom and tools, but also with this new little family that you've created within that group, right? And I feel like your group was especially connected and bonded and tight. What was that like for you, cultivating that connection with the other students?
So obviously, like, we get the small pod, and we also have a study buddy too. So as you're kind of unpacking your chart and seeing it for what it really is, there's this karmic story that you can start to see and share with somebody else, and they're sharing theirs, so you're learning from each other's chart. And it's that thing that Debra talks about, like there's no mistakes in heaven and everything is karmic, and we were able to realize the karmic loops and those, you know, stories that we were stuck in that kept coming back, those lessons, the Saturn lessons. And we moved through that as a group, that we were like, oh, you know, there's so much there that we want to go into the next level and share this with others, because we could see what it did for our own lives. And staying with other astrologers from like the girls that graduated level 2, they put out a thing on and that's what you get the nice community as well, like and you're on this page, and some of the girls said, you know, we're finished level 2, you know, does anyone want to continue on? And then so our groups went on, and like we meet every week and we talk about, you know, what's going on for us, what are we learning, and we'll study one thing and everyone just shares it, and we come back together with our cosmic ahas. It's so much fun.
Which is a big deal for some people, because this astrology language isn't known by everybody, right? So some of us can feel really isolated in this, and who can we just talk to, you know, through this lens? And when we enter into this community, like you said, there's suddenly all these other people that speak the same language as us, right? And so it's kind of like building this little astrological family, person by person, and we have our people, you know, that we can feel comfortable with and share with as well.
Yeah, definitely building that and building our circles of trust is something that is really honorable. And, you know, something that I've been able to do here locally is, you know, start to share it at women's circles even more and speak the language and share like this wisdom that we are sitting under as women, that we can utilize this energy to, you know, the highest.
So is that what you do? So I was going to ask you before we end here, what is it that you do now with all these tools and all these astrological wisdoms that you've collected through this course? What are you doing with it
now? Well, got a little like Facebook page where I do a little bit of astro blogging of, you know, what's going on for the moon and sharing that, and pushing my comfort zone, and instead of being in the book, I'm sharing this, and I want to teach other women how to understand their charts, and men. So I'm doing consults, so whether that's face-to-face or online, and offering that to be of service is something really powerful. And it's really it's teaching others, like what, you know, this thing that Debra has taught us is to be able to teach others how to liberate yourself and untie yourself from those karmic loopholes and stories that you're in. And in the groups that we're in now that we meet up, there's some of the girls there that are going off and learning more and sharing more. And like, so one of them, she's created these really cool, I was going to share this, like magnets.
Oh, that's the natal birth chart.
And so she's like been doing all of these things, and we all just egg each other on, and she's created this shirt as well. I thought I'd wear her shirt. So it's so much fun of what you can do with the chart and some other things with astrology that you can learn about yourself and others. And it doesn't stop. It really doesn't. And life ends. Life is just so much more fun now, and being able to help other people. One of the most amazing stories I had working with someone was that she, you know, said to me the next morning, I got this most beautiful message, and it was saying that it was the first time she woke up with joy in her life to be alive, where I showed her karmic story. And, you know, she actually confessed that she considered ending her life. And, you know, to do something like that for another person, and so that children can have a better mother, and it's just amazing what we can do with this art. It's absolutely beautiful.
Like Debra says, we are blessing the person in front of us by, you know, reading their chart and sharing that, our knowledge with them. It's so powerful, very powerful. So Willanna, I thank you so much for doing this with me, even though it was totally outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah, at least I was in my Cancerian comfort zone.
There you go. There you go. So we have school starting up again in February for those of you guys interested, and the cart opens January 21st, I believe. So it's actually right around the corner. We're going to jump in again. So
oh, do it. It will
yes.
change your life and everybody around you. It's such a beautiful tool.
Powerful, very powerful. So happy New Year, everyone. And Willanna, thank you so much for wearing your New Year crown. Really like that.
Happy New Year. And
Happy
I hope everybody enjoys 2020. It's going to be an amazing year.
Yes, I think so too. Okay, bye everyone. Thank you.
Bye.